Up to about 20 to 9, you're watching BBC Breakfast, getting an appointment with your GP, I'm sure lots of you know, isn't always that easy. But imagine if your doctor actually came to live with you for 2 months.
It's a terrifying thought, isn't it? As part of a TV experiment, 3 families have been put through a full health MOT, analysing them at home, at work, and even monitoring their sleep.
Nothing goes unnoticed when their doctors is about. Let's have a little look.
Okay, we've got to put this plan into action. So, first thing, don't drink your calories, okay? Where are the sugary drinks?
Started with our sugary drinks.
No squashes at all?
No squashes
No added
at all.
sugar?
Nothing.
No more juices, squash or fizzy drinks. Just water, black coffee and tea from now on.
Okay, so...
Next, all products with added sugar are banned.
Okay, so this is Fajitamix. Can you just read me the first ingredient?
Sugar.
Sugar.
This has got glucose syrup. Sugar. You've got the chilli sauce.
Second ingredient, sugar.
Tomato and basil and...
How about sugar? It's not just tomato and basil. Refined processed carbohydrates.
Wheat, corn, rice, potatoes and dairy products are going too, because the doctor suspects they will all turn to sugar too quickly in Sandeep's body.
Popcorn? Oh my God, like...
Well, what are we going to eat?
And slightly it's making me think, I wonder if I could stick to it. I'll be honest with you.
I feel bad at the moment.
You should.
Okay.
Well, you saw Rangan, Chatterjee there. The doctor moves in, extraordinary pictures there. Just explain to us the kind of concept behind what you were doing.
Well, the concept is that the average GP consultation is 10 minutes in the UK. And so what happens if you go beyond 10 minutes into someone's life? Not what they tell you actually they do at home. You're actually seeing what they do at home. And actually just watching that clip, it brings back a lot of fond memories from when I was filming, actually.
And is one of the key moments, I suppose, when you open their cupboards in the kitchen and you actually see what they're all eating?
Yeah, I mean, that's the sort of thing that you will never see in the surgery. You know, if I had to tell my doctor what I was eating, I'd probably give them my best day. And I think patients unwittingly often do that. So just seeing that was truly profound.
So tell us a little bit about their family. And you can tell us because it's on the telly, so it's not like they're hiding stuff from you, is there? So tell us a little bit about the 3 of them.
Well, the 3 of them are a lovely family. The father had established type 2 diabetes for over 10 years.
Right.
He was on 3 different drugs to control that, and despite that, his blood sugar was out of control. On the other hand, his wife, Prissy, you know, she had other issues. She had menopausal problems, she couldn't sleep, she had hot flushes, and she couldn't lose weight. And the tricky thing for me was, I think if you're going to undergo lifestyle change, you have to all do it together as a family. I think if you're trying to make a change and your partner's having, you know, the chocolate biscuits on the sofa, and it's going to be very, very tricky. So I had to come up with a plan that worked for all of them. And it was mainly targeted at the father, Sandeep, who had type 2 diabetes. And so it was quite a strict diet for them, but the results were truly profound.
So go on, tell me, what did you cut out for them? What did that include?
Well, because Sandeep had established type 2 diabetes, I had to basically cut out all refined carbohydrates. So
Which is?
bread, pasta, rice, all the added sugars, loads of hidden sugars. So, you know, there's that scene you showed, the cupboard was full of healthy, low-fat cereals, but actually when they looked at the packet, they were loaded with sugar. And, you know, if you've got type 2 diabetes, every time you have one of those, you are driving the process that causes it. So I was really, really happy to be able to show them that actually you can reverse the process that drives diabetes.
So that was particular to them, and perhaps to other people who have that type of diabetes, would that fit for them as well?
Yeah, this was a type of diabetes called type 2 diabetes, not type 1 diabetes. There's a bit of a difference there, but type 2 diabetes very much responds to this sort of diet.
We see this enormous pile of things which you stop them from eating. What did they eat instead?
Well, that's a really, really good point. I mean, when I take foods out of someone's diet, I say, well, what can you replace them with? So I said, you can have, you know, loads of different foods. You know, there's lots of meats, fish, eggs, nuts, lots of vegetables. I could have unlimited vegetables. I was very keen to say, I want you to have 5 different vegetables every day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware, there's a lot of research showing that the health of our gut bacteria in our guts determines a huge part of our health. And actually, it's vegetable fiber that these bugs love feeding on. And so I was saying, you know, you say 5 a day, let's focus on 5 veg a day. and then you can have your fruit on top of that.
And did anyone ever say to you, that's all great, but do you know what, buying meat or fresh fish every day and all of these vegetables, that's going to really cost an awful lot more money. It's going to add to my bills.
Yes, it's a really good point. Not the family tonight, but actually the family in episode 3, the first night I spent with them, I said, what would you guys normally have? And basically, I went out with the dad. He said to the family, you know, what, just the usual guys? And they said, yeah. And we drove 10 minutes out of town to a fast food restaurant. He spent £48 on the 4 of them to have, you know, they had about 3-4 chicken burgers each, fries, multiple soft drinks. And relative to £48 for feeding a family of 4, I would argue that this kind of eating is a lot cheaper than that. But I absolutely recognise that sometimes healthy eating, people get put off. I think it's too expensive.
Yes. It's not just diets under scrutiny. We're going to have a look at another little bit of the programme. Let's have it.
How much are you taking a day?
I tend to always take them probably Saturday and Sunday, or maybe Friday, depends.
So basically, at the weekend,
Yeah.
you're taking 2 of these in the evening.
Yeah.
But you're also taking this at the same time?
Sometimes, not all the time.
Okay.
I tend to either have them or them.
Look, I mean, there's a lot here, isn't there?
There is a bit more somewhere. I've got strong ones, they're the 100 milligram ones. I'll be 100% honest, and this is why I'm reaching out for your help, is I've got to a stage where I'm taking that dosage that I'm telling you, and it's not really working.
Some of these are addictive drugs.
Gosh, so that's Ray talking to you there, who's obviously he's got, is it back pain that he has?
Yeah, Ray had a lot of issues. The root cause of a lot of his problems, which actually you would never get in a 10-minute consultation, was that he has something called body dysmorphic disorder. So, you know, as you saw Ray there, he's a big guy. But when
He looks very fit.
He looks very fit, works out a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, the interesting thing is when he looks in the mirror, he sees a thin, scrawny teenager. And it was really a very, very challenging case for me, very, very rewarding. He's such a lovely guy, and he was feeling, he felt a bit let down by the medical profession, actually. He felt that he would go from doctor to doctor. No one really understood what he was going through. So he took matters into his own hands and was ordering sleeping pills, opiate painkillers, you know, strong addictive kind of painkiller from the internet sometimes, and self-medicating. You know, we know that's a big problem, but I don't think we even know how severe the problem is because we don't see it. His doctor didn't know he had this problem.
Because one of the challenges a doctor would have is, you know, I would imagine someone like Ray would go to a doctor and you would get a fraction of his actual story. He might tell you what the immediate problem is, but you don't know the background, so how can a doctor ever really tackle that?
Sadly, you're absolutely right, and I think that was the big learning experience for me on this programme, is that actually 10 minutes is just simply not enough. And you know, that's a wider question. What do we do about that? Because I never would have got to the root of his problems in a 10-minute consultation.
I wanted to ask you that, but I know there is something you're doing about it because you're taking sort of groups of people, aren't you, with specific problems and talking to them.
Yeah, look, I think we need to be a bit inventive and think outside the box. Or we either need to say, look, the NHS is struggling to cope and there's nothing we can do about it, or we need to think, well, are there different ways of providing care? So the practice I work at in Oldham, we have a huge proportion of patients who've got diabetes, and I'm very passionate about nutrition, so I was finding in 10 minutes, I wasn't able to get through all the information that I wanted to get through, so I thought, you know what, instead of seeing 6 patients over 1 hour in 10-minute consultations, I thought I'd get 10 patients with type 2 diabetes in a group, I'll give them a 1-hour lecture, really empower them to know how to look after themselves, and then what's great about something like that is that you've got that little mini community. So good health happens outside the doctor's surgery, not inside. And so these guys can support each other afterwards, and the results are great. So I don't do that regularly. I'm talking to my management about bringing that in, but I think we need to think of new ways to deliver our care.
Rangan, lovely to speak to you. It's
Thank
a
you very
great
much.
programme. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, thank you. Doctor in the House begins tonight at 9 o'clock on BBC One.